Welcome to the Madison Motor Podcast. Today is Monday, December 11th, 2023. Today we'll recap the weekend's NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, and NHL, and soccer. Look ahead to everything going on today. We'll do some reality TV and best bet. But we have to start the show with news and notes because we had a record-breaking deal over the weekend. I wanted to do an emergency show about it, but I just didn't have the time to do it. Shohei Ohtani made his decision. He decides to sign with the Los Angeles Dodgers, 10 years, $700 million. He's going to be making $70 a year. I always said that the Dodgers didn't need him because they still have enough to win. But this management was not satisfied with back-to-back out of the first round seasons. So they went all in on signing Ohtani. They don't, like I said, they didn't really need him. And he's not even pitching in 2024. I saw somebody say that that's the worst contract in sports now. It might turn out to be the worst contract in the history of sports if he doesn't stay healthy and if he doesn't hit 330 with 50 bombs and 160 RBIs and pitch to an ERA under 3. So there's a lot of pressure on Ohtani to deliver here. And I don't blame the Dodgers for going all out. I don't blame them. The Blue Jays also made a lofty offer to Shohei. And it was competitive and in the same ballpark as the Dodgers. But the reason Shohei chose the Dodgers is because Shohei grew to respect the organization and his commitment to winning. So he announced the news around 3 o'clock Eastern on Saturday on Instagram. So fun of Shohei to announce it himself. And I think that's how it should be done. I like when the athletes announce it themselves instead of the media breaking the news. This is literally 24 hours after John Morosi had his arson judge moment by saying that Ohtani was flying to Toronto to meet with the Blue Jays, and then Heyman and Nightingale were like, no, he's not flying to Toronto to meet with the Blue Jays. So that was like the speculation that he was signing with the Blue Jays. And it turns out he goes to the Dodgers. So, like I said, they didn't need Ohtani, but holy crap, they're under immense pressure to win. And if they don't win, this is a fail. Like, I know they don't get Ohtani the pitcher until 2025. But the thought of Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman in the same lineup is just ridiculous. That is the best trio in the history of Major League Baseball. Like, that is just dominant. And all those guys are making big bucks. And the Dodgers still have work to do. I know they signed Joe Kelly for the bullpen. There was a report out there that they're making a 2-for-1 trade with the Yankees to clear up roster spots. But we don't know who the players are going, in which direction. Apparently a non-top 40 prospect is going to the Dodgers, a non-top 40 guy's going to the Yankees, and then a back-end rotation starter's going to the Yankees. Probably one of those young guys that the Dodgers had at the end of the season. So we'll see how that trade plays out to clear the roster spots for Joe Kelly and Ohtani. And like I said, I think the Dodgers have more work to do. Maybe they should go out and get another reliever. They need pitching. And that was, to me, their biggest need. I didn't think they needed Ohtani, but they need his pitching maybe 2025, but they need pitching right now. I mean, bring back Clayton Kershaw and sign somebody else. Whether that's Blake Snell and Yashinimo Yamamoto, who the Dodgers are still reportedly in on, which is crazy. Maybe it's one of those trade guys like Corbin Burns, Shane Bieber. So we'll see. The Dodgers need pitching. They really didn't need Ohtani. But the Dodgers want to go over the top, and they are not satisfied with back-to-back seasons with first-round exits, and they know that World Series they won was a COVID title in a short season. Granted, they were the best team that year, so of course, and the Dodgers need to do it, and they need to deliver. So, good on the Dodgers for getting it done. That contract's going to look awful down the road. $70 million a year is crazy. Highest paid player in sports. And I think this contract is going to change the landscape of contracts around sports. You think LeBron's complaining? I think LeBron's complaining right now. I think Patrick Mahomes is complaining right now. Those guys are probably like, hey, I'm worth that. Maybe some of the other young baseball stars. Juan Soto. Like, what's he going to get next year? Not 700, but maybe 500 million. But this is insane. And we'll see if this contract changes the market in sports for stars. And Connor McDavid is another player in sports that's probably like, really? Messi's another one? So, yeah. So, more news and notes. We had to talk Ohtani to open the show. So, let's start with baseball. Tyler O'Neill traded from the Cardinals to the Red Sox. Good addition for Boston. Maybe change of scenery guy. He replaces Verdugo. Cardinals obviously turning their roster over. We'll see how that works out. Blake Snell on the Red Sox radar. Boston needs to sign or acquire one of these pitchers via trade. They're another team. The Mets never offered a deal for Shohei Ohtani as they didn't make a formal run at Ohtani. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Because this time a year ago, we thought Shohei was going there. And then Steve Cohen's just like, yeah, no, we'll pass. He's an injury prone. We'll pass. Which is insane. Steve Cohen is not low-key lived up to what he was going to be perceived to be. Yet. I know he signed Verlander and Scherzer, but guess what? He traded them right away. And then he signed Correa, but the physical failed. So we're not counting that one. I mean, I'm not counting that one. But some people said, oh, well, the physical didn't count. So it's just crazy that the Mets never made a run at Ohtani. So they're kind of in a rebuild in a weird way. And then the Mets have not talked extension with Peter Alonso, as they're currently not clear if they plan on approaching Alonso this offseason. That's crazy. And they should extend him. He's their star. He's the marquee player on that team. The Yankees are not using Hideki Matsui or Masahiro Tanaka in their meeting with Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I know Hal Steinbrenner and the Brass is going to meet with him today. I think that they absolutely need another pitcher to go. Garrett Cole. Carlos Rodon was a huge bust last year. So, I think they sign him. I think they're the team that gets him. I said that before Hot Stove started, and I still am buying that. Because there's a reason they traded all those pitchers in the Juan Soto deal. So they just must know something. And then John Morosi apologized about the inaccurate report on Shohei's Toronto visit. And then Drake was caught wearing an Ohtani jersey, so he probably thought they were getting him. And then the Angels removed the Ohtani mural in Anaheim, which is not stunning. Heisman voting. Jaden Daniels wins the Heisman with 503 votes. Michael Penix Jr. second with 292 votes. That Pac-12 title game got Penix back in it a little bit, but what cost Penix the Heisman was those couple weeks where Washington's offense wasn't very good. And then Jaden Daniels, despite losing to Alabama, gets the Heisman. And then Bo Nix came in third. And then Marvin Harrison Jr. came in fourth. And then among players that missed the NYC invite were Jordan Travis and Jalen Milroe. Bill Belichick was on game day, and he channeled his inner Lee Corso by putting on a Navy helmet, which was very funny. And then Jaden Daniels also won the Davey O'Brien Award. And Marvin Harrison Jr. won the Biltonkopf Award, which is not surprising. Tyler Van Dyke is visiting Wisconsin as he's making his rounds after entering the transfer portal. Dylan Gabriel picked a spot, Oregon, so he'll be replacing Bo Nix. So that's going to be a contender in the Big Ten next year. Oh my God. I almost said the Pac-12. Oh my God. The Ohio State duo is visiting Nebraska, Kyle McCord and Julian Fleming. I feel like whenever Ohio State guys transfer, they turn out to be flops other than Joe Burrow with LSU. So we'll stick in football. Patrick Mahomes addresses the frustration that on that call that cost the Chiefs the go-ahead touchdown against the Bills. And then he ripped the call to Josh Allen. And we all saw him literally losing his mind on the sideline. There's a scuffle in the Seattle-San Francisco game. TK Metcalf was ejected after suplexing Fred Warner. Justin Jefferson left the game yesterday due to a chest injury. And the good news is that he was out of the hospital and will travel back with the team. CJ Stroud exited the game against the Jets with a head injury as he was being evaluated for a concussion. And he'll be evaluated throughout the week after exiting Sunday's game as he's in concussion protocol. And Nico Collins left the game due to a calf injury. So a lot went wrong for the Texans in that game. Drew Lock actually started for the Seahawks against the 49ers as Geno Smith is dealing with a groin injury. San Francisco still would have won the game with Geno Smith at quarterback. The Steelers, it's just a lot has gone wrong for them over the past 2 weeks. Alex Highsmith concussion. TJ Watt in concussion protocol. And Amari Cooper cleared the protocol. He played against the Jaguars. So did Joe Flacco, as he'll be their starting quarterback for the rest of the season, which is the right call. Justin Herbert exited the game due to a finger injury. And then Easton Stick was in at quarterback. And then Justin Herbert broke his finger, and Brandon Staley didn't give a timetable for his return. Trevor Lawrence started against the Browns. But Jake Browning exited the game for the Bengals. And then A.J. McCarron played for a little bit. And then Josh Jacobs had a knee injury of the Raiders. Multiple teams are eyeing Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, as he's believed to be the hottest coaching candidate this cycle. Okay. Are we sure about that? 6 contenders are talking with Zach Ertz, as he's remaining patient to find the right fit. I think the Ravens are the right fit. Grant Delpit agrees to a 3-year extension with $23 million guaranteed, as he earns $36 million, so that's a big extension for Cleveland. Brendan Rice, the USC wide receiver and the son of Jerry Rice, announces he is entering the 2024 NFL Draft. So Bronny James made his college debut, and LeBron shared an emotional Instagram post for it, and then LeBron came right after the Lakers in-season tournament title. There was an Army dad that surprised his family, as fans watching Illinois-Tennessee got to see a wholesome reunion, which was very emotional. Mitchell Robinson out against the Raptors because of an ankle injury. Jalen Brunson questionable. The Knicks had Brunson in a game that was over in the fourth quarter, and he's freaking hurt. I mean, this is a must-win tonight for the Knicks, because they lost those 2 games to Milwaukee and Boston. So, if Brunson doesn't play, they're in trouble. Their team's eyeing Emmanuel quickly, as the Knicks may package him and Quentin Grimes and Evan Fournier in a future trade. And Dante DiVincenzo started over Quentin Grimes against the Celtics on Friday night. And Jaylen Brown got ejected in that Knicks game, as he had to be held back after a second technical. Bradley Beal targeting a return on Tuesday against the Warriors, barring setbacks. Keywords, barring setbacks. Anthony Edwards exited the game with a hip injury against the Grizzlies. Kyrie Irving suffered a foot injury against the Blazers after a collision with Dwight Powell. And then he avoids the injury as he has a bruise on his foot after being landed on. Status still unclear for return. Bruises are not good. They're like breaks. Remember Aaron Judge had a bruise? It turned out to be a break. I forget when that was. It might have been last year. Or maybe it was several years ago. The Pistons want a large offer for Bojan Bogdanovic despite 18-game losing streak. They're delusional, the Pistons. They're acting like Bojan Bogdanovic is, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a really, really good player that they want a big ask for. I don't know. They're making him out to be an all-star, and he's not. Adam Silver to meet with John Morant, as Morant will check in with Adam Silver before returning from suspension. LeBron James won the in-season tournament MVP, as we talked about earlier. That was a really fun game. And like I said, the Lakers are going to be a team that shows up when they want to show up. And I think the in-season tournament proved that. The Indiana Fever won the NBA draft lottery, so they won the Caitlin Clark sweepstakes. So they're going to have her and Aaliyah Boston on the same team. Wow. And the second overall pick's going to be Paige Beckers. And that is an awesome consolation prize. And the funny thing is that if Becker's didn't tear her ACL, Becker's versus Caitlin Clark would have been a real conversation. So good on the Fever for striking gold yet again. All right, now we'll go to the NFL. We will go over the results from the weekend and look ahead to a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. Bucks over the Falcons 29-25, Bengals over the Colts 34-14, Browns over the Jaguars 31-27, Jets over the Texans 30-6, Ravens over the Rams 37-31 in overtime, Bears over the Lions 28-13, Saints over the Panthers 28-6, Vikings over the Raiders 3-0 in one of the worst games of the year, 49ers over the Seahawks 28-16, Bills over the Chiefs 20-17, Broncos over the Chargers 24-7, and the Cowboys beat the Eagles 33-13 in a game that they absolutely needed to win. All right, 2 games tonight. We'll start with at 8:15 on ESPN, Titans-Dolphins. I would think this is the Chris Fowler, Booger McFarland, that group of guys calling this game. I sure as hell hope it Joe Buck's in MetLife. Although people are going to say if Joe Buck's in MetLife, it's favoritism because it's the NFC East. But I don't care. Joe Buck better be at MetLife. I need Joe Buck with my team. And not these B-level announcers. So, Titans-Dolphins, and I mean B-level in terms of how ESPN has it. They're like the number 2 crew. My line's Dolphins by 10, total 46 and 13/20. And it is, let's see here, 13.5, total 46.5. I'm still going to take Tennessee plus the points. It was my last pick in Fab 5. I think Tennessee covers against Miami. Miami will win. But I could see like Will Levis driving down the field and hitting DeAndre Hopkins for the backdoor cover late. So I could see this game being like 33-21, 30-18, 31-20 or something like that. Yeah, let's go with 31-20. No Jalen Phillips, so maybe Miami's defense shows some vulnerability a little bit. And then on ABC, we have Packers-Giants, and that better be Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on the call, because if it's not, that's embarrassing for the team I root for, because you're on ABC, you deserve Buck and Aikman. And Buck and Aikman usually are on ABC. And I'm trying to find who is calling the game. So, in the meantime, my line is Packers by 2, total 39 and 7/10, and it's 6 and 37. I love the Giants getting to 6. I'm tempted to take them at plus 235 outright as well. And I don't know if they're actually going to win outright. I was on Doug Saravo's show a few days ago. He's a friend of the show, and I said Giants outright. So let's see here. Good. Buck and Aikman on the Giant game. Abso-freaking-lutely the right call. Thank God. And then Chris Fowler, Dan Orlovsky, Louis Riddick. Okay, not Booger McFarland. I'd rather it be Dan and Lou. They're good. And then Laura Rutledge on sidelines for Dolphins, and then we have Lisa Salters in MetLife. So, thank goodness. And then Peyton and Eli tonight will follow, both games at times simultaneously. That is awesome. So, yeah, I thought that we were going to get Joe Buck at MetLife because it was ABC. And usually, if there's one game on each channel, Buck and Aikman are usually on ABC. And let's face it, that's the better game right now. Packers are playing well, and the Giants went back-to-back. That's a better game. Both those teams are better than Tennessee. Granted, the Dolphins are better than the Giants and the Packers, but Tennessee's obviously the worst of the 4 teams. So, right call by ESPN. So, I'm going to take both dogs tonight. One of them's going to win outright, and I think it's going to be the Giants. Okay, now move on to college football. We will go over the notable results. All right, so Saturday, Army beats Navy 17-11. Low-scoring fashion Army-Navy from Gillette. Bill Belichick was there as the guest picker. And the funny thing is that there was a Navy safety at the end of the game. So, yeah, Army-Navy, typical Army-Navy game. And having it in New England this year was pretty different. And then the FCS quarterfinals, Friday, Montana over Furman 35-28 in overtime. South Dakota State over Villanova 23-12. North Dakota State destroys South Dakota 45-17. And Albany over Idaho 30-22. The semis are coming up this weekend. And then we have the Celebration Bowl as well. And the FCS title game is Sunday, January 7th. So it's the day before our national title game, the FBS. So, it's going to be interesting to see who wins these semis. And I wonder if we're going to get South Dakota State, North Dakota State in the final. That would be awesome. And then we're going to do bowl picks throughout the bowl season, obviously, and we'll get more into that as the week and weeks go on. This week and in the weeks to come. Okay, college basketball. It was a busy weekend for sure. We'll go over the results. And we will look ahead to tonight's games. All right, so Friday, Duquesne over St. Peter's, 68-59. BC over Holy Cross, 95-64. Ryder over Stonehill, 73-56. Fairleigh Dickinson over Manhattan, 76-71. Yale over Colby Sawyer, 95-36. Harvard over Army, 70-64. High Point over NCAT, 75-62. Oakland over Eastern Michigan, 77-63. UIC over Jacksonville State, 55-49. And Quinnipiac over Navy, 71-68. Saturday, Mississippi State over Tulane, 106-76. That game was in Atlanta. Syracuse over Georgetown, 80-68. Number 5, UConn over Arkansas Pine Bluff, 101-63. Number 16, Kentucky over Penn, 81-66. Number 17, Tennessee over number 20, Illinois, 86-79. Morgan State over Volnitsburg, 120-50. Minnesota over Florida Gulf Coast, 77-57. Virginia Tech over Valpo, 71-50. South Carolina over East Carolina, 68-62. Butler over Cal, 97-90 in double overtime. UMass over UMass Lowell, 91-77. Dayton over Troy, 82-70. Queens over Carolina. Not North Carolina, but just Carolina. 112-64. Towson over UMBC, 89-73. Youngstown State over Western Michigan, 72-68. American over VMI, 77-69. Number 4, Purdue over Alabama, 92-86 from Toronto. Kansas State over LSU, 75-60. South Florida over Florida State, 88-72 from Sunrise. Number 10, Creighton over Central Michigan, 109-64. Lehigh over Cairn, 88-33. Furman over Bob Jones, 158. Western Kentucky over Buffalo, 82-65. Florida A&M over Lemoyne Owen, 108-78. Mercer over Georgia State, 64-60. Longwood over Delaware State, 62-61. DePaul over Louisville, 75-68. Colgate over Vermont, 77-71. Wofford over Coastal Carolina, 88-80. Indiana State over Southern Indiana, 98-54. Kent State over Cleveland State, 83-77. LaSalle over Lafayette, 67-51. Davidson over Miami of Ohio, 79-61. Grand Canyon over Liberty, 69-64. North Florida over Georgia Southern, 64-56. Portland over North Dakota, 83-72. Monmouth over Northern Illinois, 74-71. Toledo over Northern Iowa, 84-80. Auburn over Indiana, 104-76 from Atlanta. Maine over Central Con, 69-56. Bethune over SC State, 80-71. Binghamton over Lemoyne, 91-79. Number 22 Duke over Charlotte, 80-56. Number 12 Texas over Houston Christian, 77-50. Montana over Montana Tech, 88-67. St. Louis over Hofstra, 71-68. Louisiana Tech over Louisiana, 72-67. Southern Miss over Northwestern State, 83-74. Number 1 Arizona over number 23 Wisconsin, 98-73. Arkansas State over UAB, 87-68. Number 3 Houston over Jackson State, 89-55. 19 Oklahoma over Arkansas, 79-70. South Alabama over Spring Hill, 91-74. Boise over Western Oregon, 109-70. Santa Barbara over Bethesda, 126-76. Wyoming over Stephen F. Fawcett, 78-70. Georgia Tech over Alabama A&M, 70-49. Marist over Dartmouth, 63-53. Northern Arizona over Incarnate Word, 76-75. Western Carolina over UNC Asheville, 78-63. Marshall over Ohio, 74-69. West Virginia over Drexel, 66-60. St. Bonaventure over Siena, 89-56. Nichols over Elizabeth, 84-70. Florida over Richmond, 87-76. In the Orange Bowl Classic. In Sunrise, number 24 Clemson over TCU, 74-66. In Toronto, Radford over NC Central, 82-74. A&M Corpus Christi over Omaha, 62-58. KC over Lindenwood, 72-67. Milwaukee over UC Davis, 81-79. Mount St. Mary's over Loyola Maryland, 77-64. Fullerton over Sacramento State, 62-60. Portland State over George Fox, 83-77. Oregon State over Utah Valley, 74-71. New Mexico over Santa Clara, 93-76. San Jose State over New Orleans, 87-82. Number 2 Kansas over Missouri, 73-64. Penn State over Ohio State, 83-80. Loyola Chicago over Goshen, 115-64. Eastern Washington over Air Force, 73-68. George Washington over Coppin State, 76-45. Pitt over Canisius, 82-71. Fairfield over Sacred Heart, 67-57. St. Mary's upsets number 13 Colorado State, 64-61. Southern over Southeast Louisiana, 69-44. Xavier over Cincinnati, 84-79. Stony Brook over Bryant, 86-75. Utah over number 14 BYU, 73-69. Number 18 James Madison over Old Dominion, 84-69. South Dakota over Bakersfield, 78-73. Akron over Northern Kentucky, 77-76. Western Illinois over Green Bay, 68-59. Kennesaw State over SCS State, 84-77. Purdue Fort Wayne over Southeast Missouri, 89-80. Norfolk State over Illinois State, 64-58. Missouri State over Sam Houston, 69-60. South Dakota State over Wichita State, 79-69. Villanova over UCLA, 65-56. Fresno State over Pacific, 89-56. Austin Peay over Murray State, 53-49. Drake over Nevada, 72-53. Merrimack over Felician, 89-85. Seattle over Northwest, 101-46. Oral Roberts over Ozark Christian, 110-51. Wake over NJIT, 83-59. Southern Utah over Idaho State, 82-74. Rutgers over Seton Hall, 70-63. Belmont over Middle Tennessee, 75-65. Number 8 Marquette over Notre Dame, 78-59. Utah State over Northwest Nazarene, 84-53. Weber State over Cal Poly, 78-50. Oregon over UTEP, 71-49. Idaho over Utah Tech, 63-62. Pepperdine over UC San Diego, 68-62. Loyola Marymount over UNLV, 78-75. Number 25, San Diego State over UC Irvine, 63-62. San Diego over Arizona State, 89-84. And Washington over number 7, Gonzaga, 78-73. And then yesterday, Fordham over North Texas, 60-59 from Brooklyn. Providence over Brown, 74-54. Winthrop over Little Rock, 85-68. UTSA over Arkansas Fort Smith, 93-60. BU over Wagner, 73-59. St. Joe's over Princeton, 74-70. Iowa State over Prairie View, 107-56. From Brooklyn, Colorado, upsets number 15, Miami, 90-63. Bowling over Ohio, Dom, 97-49. UNC Wilmington over Montreat, 119-50. Stetson over Johnson, Florida, 123-43. North Dakota State over Oak Hill Christian, 108-14. That's a right score. They scored 5 points in the first half and 9 points in the second half. Wow. Although that's not a Division I school, though. But still, that's crazy. Chattanooga over Tennessee Wesleyan 112-51. William & Mary over Williamsburg 99-50. Ball State over SIU Edwardsville 83-71. Niagara over Buffalo State 113-64. Northwestern over Detroit 91-59. Charleston over Rhode Island 85-70. VC over Alcorn State 86-58. Tennessee Martin over Ecclesia 110-52. St. Thomas over Chicago State 66-50. Morehead State over North Alabama 86-77. Central Arkansas over Eastern Illinois 73-70. Memphis over number 21 Texas A&M 81-75. Eastern Kentucky over Bethany West Virginia 121-56. Abilene Christian over Howard Payne 120-69. Long Beach State over USC 84-79 in overtime. Ole Miss over UCF 70-68. East Tennessee State over Tennessee Tech 73-72. Michigan over Iowa 90-80. UNC Greensboro over Elon 82-73. From Brooklyn, BC over St. John's 86-80. Lipscomb over Tennessee State 78-71. Iona over St. Fran, PA 61-54. Oklahoma State over Tulsa 72-57 from OKC's arena. Nebraska over Michigan State 77-70. From Brooklyn, Temple over Albany 78-73. Washington State over Grambling 83-65. And Hawaii over Hawaii Pacific 78-53. All right, small window today. 11 o'clock, you have Gallaudet and Longwood. 12 o'clock, Northern Colorado and A&M Commerce. My line is Commerce by 4 1/4. And it is Northern Colorado 2.5 total 145. And I'm giving Commerce plus the points and plus 116 outright. All right. 7 o'clock on North Greenville, Gardner-Webb, we can skip. Jacksonville and NC State. My line is Jacksonville by 4. It is 5.5, 146.5. I'll take the over. Delaware and Robert Morris. My line is Delaware 8.5. And it's 4.5 and 144.5. I'll lay it with Delaware. Mary Baldwin, Hampton, we can skip. Howard Penn. My line's Penn by 4, and it's 5.5 and 148.5. I'll take the over. Columbia, Fairleigh Dickinson. I have Dickinson by 3, and Columbia is giving 1.5. Total is 159.5. I'll take Fairleigh Dickinson plus the points and whatever the money line is. Yale, Quinnipiac. Mine's Quinnipiac by 3.5. And Yale's favored by 9.5. Total 146.5. Give me Quinnipiac again plus the points plus 340 outright. Stonehill, New Hampshire. My line is New Hampshire 10.5. And it's 13.5 and 150.5. I'll take Stonehill plus the points. 7:30, Alabama, Samford. My line is Alabama A&M, Samford. My line is Samford 21.5. And it's 17.5, 154.5. I'll lay the points. Jarvis Christian, Texas State. We can skip. 9 o'clock, Mississippi Valley State. Number 7, Gonzaga. Mine's Gonzaga 37.25. And it's 40.5 and 140.5. I think Miss Valley covers, but this is an obvious bounce back opportunity for Gonzaga. They could have a bounce back spot and not cover. And I think that's going to be the case. 10 o'clock, Utah Tech and Cal State Northridge. My line is Northridge by 7 3/4. And it's 2.5 and 146.5. I'll lay the points. And last but not least, New Orleans, San Francisco. Mine's San Fran by 12. And it's 21.5 and 147.5. I'll take New Orleans to cover the 21.5. All right, now we'll move on to the NBA. We'll recap the games from the weekend, and we have a large window tonight. We'll begin with Friday. Hornets over the Raptors, 119-116. Magic over the Pistons, 123-91. Sixers over the Hawks, 125-114. Nets over the Wizards, 124-97. Celtics over the Knicks, 133-123. Cavs over the Heat, 111-99. Wolves over the Grizzlies, 127-103. Thunder over the Warriors, 138-136 in overtime. Bulls over the Spurs, 121-112. Rockets over the Nuggets, 114-106. Kings over the Suns, 114-106. Same score, that's weird. Clippers over the Jazz, 117-103. And the Mavericks over the Blazers, 125-112. And then Saturday night, the Lakers win the in-season tournament championship, 123-109 over the Pacers. LeBron James, as mentioned earlier, your MVP for the in-season tournament, throwing back the clock in his performance. And as I said in News and Notes, the Lakers are going to be a team that shows up when they want to show up. They'll show up in games like this in the in-season tournament. They'll show up in home games against the Warriors and the Nuggets and teams like that. And then they'll show up in road games, say, like at MSG against the Knicks or in Boston against the Celtics. That's going to be the kind of team the Lakers are going to be this year. And them winning the in-season tournament, I think, is a big deal. All right. Tonight, 7 o'clock, you have the Heat and the Hornets. My line is Hornets only by 1, total 229 and 3/10. That's because of some injuries here with Tyler Herro and Bam. Although LaMelo's out too, but Miami still is minus points without two guys rather than the Charlotte Hornets missing their best player. It's 4 and 222. I'm going to take the over. Pacers Pistons. My line is the Pacers by 11, total 239 and a quarter, and it's 7 and 247.5. I'll take the under. Cavs Magic. Mine's Magic 4 and 3/4, so 223, and it's 1.5 and 226.5. That's a tough one. Under. Magic defense has been playing good. Wizards Sixers. I think these two teams played recently, if I'm not mistaken. Mine's 76ers by 17.5, total 238 and 320. It's if Embiid doesn't play, that goes down to 10. It's 11.5 and 244. Right now, I'll lay the points with Philly. But if anything changes, then don't do that. Meaning the status of Embiid. 7:30 Nuggets Hawks. My line is the Hawks has a 2.5 point or 2 3/4 point underdog, total 234 and 9/20. And it is 2.5 and 240.5. Under. Raptors Knicks. My line is the Knicks by 7, total 222 and a quarter. If Jalen Brunson doesn't play, I need to do the math here. I didn't realize he was questionable for tonight. I don't know if they can win this game without Brunson, although they beat the Celtics last year without Brunson, which was weird. So Brunson is worth 4 points. So my projected spread would be Knicks by 3 without Brunson. And right now it's 4 and 220. So they think that line is telling you that they don't think Brunson's playing. I'm going to lay the 4 at the Knicks for right now, but that's obviously a don't bet if Brunson's ruled out. Similar to Embiid with Philly. 8 o'clock Spurs Rockets. My line is the Rockets 9 3/4, so 225 and 3/10. And it is 8.5 and 225.5. Woo! Is that close? Slight lean to the Rockets. NBA TV, Mavs Grizzlies. My line's Grizzlies by 3, total 227 and 9/20, and it's Mavs 1.5, total 226.5. I'll take the Grizzlies plus the points at plus 106 outright. Bulls Bucks. Mine's Bucks 17, total 230 and 17/20, and it's 11.5 and 233.5. I'm going to lay 11.5 with the Bucks. T-Wolves Pelicans. My line is T-Wolves by 3, total 222 and 19/20, and it's Pelicans by 3, total 222.5. I'm going to take the T-Wolves plus the points and plus 130 outright. There must be an injury I'm not aware of. Jazz Thunder. My line is Thunder 19, total 231 and 9/20, and it is 12 and 233.5. I'm going to lay the 12 with OKC. No Markkanen, no Clarkson, no Kessler. That game shouldn't even be close. 10 o'clock, Nets Kings. My line is the Kings 9.5 till 2:31 and 11/20. And it's 4.5 and 2:35.5. I'm gonna. That's a hard one. I'm gonna lay the points at Sacramento. They're just better than Brooklyn. Last but not least, 10:30 Blazers Clippers. My line is the Clippers by 14 3/4 till 2:19 and 19/20. And it's 13 to 2:20. Very close. Slight lean Clippers. All right, now move on to the NHL. We will go over the results from the weekend and look ahead to tonight's slate. All right, Friday, Panthers over the Penguins 3-1, Jackets over the Blues 5-2, Oilers over the Wild 4-3. Saturday, Bruins over the Coyotes 5-3, Golden Knights over the Stars 6-1, Devils over the Flames 4-2, Habs over the Sabres 3-2 in a shootout, Caps over the Rangers 4-0, Leafs over the Preds 4-0, Sens over the Red Wings 5-1, Isles over the Kings 3-2 OT, Blackhawks over the Blues 3-1, Flyers over the Avs 5-2, Canucks over the Hurricanes 4-3, and the Lightning over the Kraken 4-3 in OT. Yesterday, Panthers over the Blue Jackets 5-2, Oilers over the Devils 4-1, Preds over the Habs 2-1, Rangers over the Kings 4-1, Caps over the Blackhawks 4-2, Jets over the Ducks 4-2, Wild over the Kraken 3-0, and the Golden Knights over the Sharks 5-4 in a shootout. Sharks have been frisky lately, playing well against good teams. Only 4 games tonight. 7 o'clock, you have the Coyotes at the Sabres. That's a garbage game. Sabres minus 128, Coyotes plus 106, over under 6.5, minus 110 each way. Coyotes plus 1.5 is minus 225, Sabres minus 1.5 is plus 184. I like the over. Leafs Islanders, that's a good game. John Tavares back in the island. Leafs minus 132, Isles plus 110, over under 6.5, overs minus or plus 104, unders minus 128. Leafs minus 1.5 is plus 180, Isles plus 1.5 is minus 220. I'm going to take the Islanders outright plus 110. You know that crowd's going to be fired up. 8 o'clock, Red Wings Stars. Really good game. Stars minus 2.5, Red Wings plus 168, over under 6.5, minus 110 each way. Wings plus 1.5 is minus 142, Stars minus 1.5 is plus 118. I'm going to go under, although the Red Wings have Patrick Kane in the lineup now. And the 9:30 Flames Avs. The Avs minus 184, Flames plus 152, over under 6.5, overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Flames plus 1.5 is minus 156, Avs minus 1.5 is plus 130. I like the over a lot in that game. Okay, now move on to soccer. We will go over notable results from the weekend and look ahead to everything today. So the MLS Cup, Columbus beats LAFC 2-1 to win the 2023 MLS Cup. It's their third in franchise history. Congrats to the crew. Well-deserved. LAFC is denied of a repeat. So, Cujo Hernandez in the 33-minute penalty kick makes it 1-0. 4 minutes later, Yaboa in the 37th minute makes it 2-0. LAFC had chances in the first half, but the goalie, Patrick Schulte, did its job. And then Dennis Bawanga scored in the 74th minute to make it a 1-goal game. But Columbus hangs on and wins the title. Congrats to the crew as we put the MLS season to bed, as that league will return, I would think, in February, right? They have a couple months off. This is the longest sport, low-key. I mean, it's longer than baseball, longer than NASCAR. This sport goes the longest in a season. Golf is long, too, but they have breaks and whatnot. So, this is pretty much the longest sport, the MLS. All right, the Premier League from the weekend. Saturday, Liverpool over Crystal Palace 2-1, Brighton, Burnley 1-1 draw, Bournemouth over Man United 3-0, Sheffield over Brentford 1-0, Wolves, Nottingham Forest 1-1 draw, Sevilla over Arsenal 1-0. And then yesterday, Everton over Chelsea 2-0, Fulham over West Ham 5-0, Man City over Luton 2-1, and Tottenham over Newcastle 4-1. All right, Liga MX. Some playoff results from the weekend. Athletic St. Louis beat America 2-0, but America advances 5-2 on aggregate. And then Tigres and UNAM 1-1 draw, and Tigres advances 2-1 on aggregate. So now we're down to Tigres and America. In the final. And the 2 games are going to be Thursday, Sunday, so we got to remember that for the show. Bundesliga, Friday, Hoffenheim over Bochum 3-1. Saturday, Heidenheim over Darmstadt 3-2. Union Berlin over Gladbach 3-1. Frankfurt over Bayern 5-1. Freiburg over Wolfsburg 1-0. Bremen over Augsburg 2-1. And RB Leipzig over Dortmund 3-2. Sunday, Stuttgart Leverkusen 1-1 draw. Cologne Mainz 0-0 draw. La Liga. Friday, Getafe over Valencia 1-0. Saturday, Las Palmas over Alaves 1-0. Betis Real Madrid 1-1 draw. Real Sociedad over Villarreal 3-0. And Mallorca over Sevilla 1-0. And then yesterday, Atletico over Almeria 2-1. Cadiz Osasuna 1-1 draw. And Girona over Barcelona 4-2. So Barcelona, really disappointing loss. And then today we have an advantage game that will be continued between Athletic and Granada. And at 3 o'clock today, you have Rayo and Celta Vigo. So Rayo is plus 165. Celta Vigo is plus 170. The draw is plus 210. Celta Vigo's at the bottom of the league. Rayo is in the middle. One of these teams I think is better than the other, and the team that should win is Rayo at home at plus 165. All right, Serie A. Friday, Juventus over Napoli 1-0. Saturday, Verona Lazio 1-1 draw. Atalanta over Milan 3-2. Inter Milan over Udinese 4-0. And yesterday, Frosinone Torino 0-0 draw. Monza over Genoa 1-0. Bologna over Salernitana 2-1. And AS Roma Fiorentina 1-1 draw. And then today at 12:30 you have Empoli and Lecce. Lecce's 13th and Empoli is 17th. So 2 of the bottom feeders in the league. Empoli's plus 150, Lecce 2-1, the draw's plus 10. I'm going with Lecce 2-1. They are ahead of Empoli in the standings and they're playing better, low key. 2:45, you have Cagliari and Sassuolo. Cagliari is at the bottom of the league, and Sassuolo is kind of on the bottom as well. Cagliari is plus 135, Sassuolo is plus 190, the draw's plus 240. I'm going to go with Sassuolo on the road at plus 190. League 1, Friday, Montpellier Lens 0-0 draw. Saturday, Monaco over Rennes 2-1 and PSG over Nantes 2-1. Sunday, Nice over Reims 2-1. Clermont-Foot over Lille. I'm sorry, that was a 0-0 draw. Brest over Metz 1-0. Strasbourg over Le Havre AC 2-1. Lyon over Toulouse 3-0. And Marseille over Lorient 4-2. Dutch Eredivisie. Friday, FC 20 over Excelsior 4-2. Saturday, Ajax over Sparta 2-1. NEC over PC Zwolle 3-1. AZ Alkmaar over Almere City 4-1. And then Sunday, FC Utrecht over Go Ahead Eagles 2-0. Fortuna over RKC Waldwick 1-0. And Vitesse over Heracles 2-0. And also the ELC. Friday, Coventry over Birmingham 2-0. Saturday, Leeds over Blackburn 2-0. Sunderland over West Brom 2-1. Cardiff over Millwall 1-0. Huddersfield, Bristol City 1-1 draw. Leicester over Plymouth 4-0. Ipswich over Borough 2-0. Norwich City Preston 0-0 draw. QPR over Hull 2-0. Swansea over Rotherham 2-1. Sheffield Wednesday over Stoke 1-0. And Watford Southampton 1-1 draw. And also going on today, we have the Saudis King Cup. Al Hilal and Al Tawan 0-0 draw right now. This is the quarterfinals. And then Al Khalij over Abba 2-1. And at 1 o'clock, you have Al Shabab and Al Nasser. Let's see if we have a line for that game, which is on at 1 o'clock. No, we do not, which is unfortunate, but Al Nasser probably should win that game. All right, the Masked Singer from Wednesday night, we didn't get to talk about. We'll do it right now because we have time. So it was Rock Night. It was Group B. Oh, and then, by the way, Masked Singer's on tomorrow and Wednesday. So we found that out during football yesterday. So that is good to know. So Tiki went first. Some clues: cowboy hat, a Kiss poster, some aliens, a mic. And he performed I Was Made for Loving You. They did panelist connections again. Kelly Osbourne came out, and the connection was Japan. And Tiki said he ran into Nicole in Japan. The two names I had in mind after this performance were John Stamos and Cheech. Nicole said Sebastian Bach and Chains. Robin said Perry Farrell. And Jenny said Adam Lambert, which was a weird guess. Husky. There was a clock. But there was a 1. At the 1 spot was a heart. This person lost his parents closely. Has children. And Husky performed Always by Bon Jovi. The panelist connection, it's actually a host connection, Nick. Sharing the stage again is Wild. So this was obviously someone that was on Wild and Out. I was thinking R. Kelly. Ken said DJ D-Rec. Robin said Genuine. And Jenny said Brian McKnight, which I thought was a weird guess. Brian McKnight was on The Masked Dancer. I don't think he'll be on The Masked Singer, too. That'd be weird. I don't think we've had any crossover from that show in terms of contestants yet. I know some of the panelists. And then, obviously, Ken was a judge on that show, too. Sea Queen, a barber pole TV. Co-starred with Denzel Washington. And Sea Queen performed To Be With You by Mr. B.I.G. The panelist connection was with Ken Jeong. And she said that she shared the stage with Ken. My guess, Angela Bassett. Ken said Queen Latifah. Nicole said Niecy Nash and Macy Gray. And Robin said Viola Davis and Macy Gray. And the first to go with was Husky, and I was surprised about that. I thought Tiki was going to get sent first. I thought Husky was outstanding. So this group was pretty talented. My final guess for Husky was R. Kelly. Nicole and Robin said Genuine. Ken said Romeo Miller. Jenny said Brian McKnight. And it was indeed Genuine. So Robin and Nicole were correct. Genuine obviously was on Wild and Out with Nick. So that's where that connection came from. The Battle Royale is Tiki against Sea Queen. And the song that the contestants performed was sung by its original artist. In this case, Bret Michaels came out and performed Nothing But a Good Time. Obviously, Bret's song with his band Poison. And obviously Brett was the banana in the COVID season. That was season 3. And then Tiki performed Nothing But a Good Time. Then C Queen performed it. C Queen advances. Although I did not like that song for C Queen, she got through. I think her performance of To Be With You got her through. And based on her talent. So Tiki goes home. My final guess was Bon Jovi. He sounded a lot like Bon Jovi when he performed Nothing But a Good Time. And I was getting a lot of Living on a Prayer and Bad Medicine and It's My Life vibes. Ken said Adam Lambert. Robin said Perry Farrell. Nicole said Sebastian Bach. And it was indeed Sebastian Bach. So Nicole was correct. So Nicole, 2 for 2 on this episode. So congrats to Nicole. Tomorrow night, we need to look at the Masked Singer schedule before we move on to Survivor. Because I think the finale is next Wednesday, the 20th. So the same day as the Survivor finale, which is brutal for me, who follows both shows religiously. So so it just says all new jaw-dropping surprise performances from season 10 contestants. So that's for tomorrow. And it's a new episode. And then the Wednesday night episode is Group C finalists perform songs representing key moments in their lives. So that makes sense. So Group C finals is Wednesday, but tomorrow night's just a random episode. So now we know what that scenario is like. Now we'll move on to Survivor. We will recap the episode, which was a really interesting show. So it starts out with the tribe celebrating the elimination of Bruce. And Austin and Dee's relationship was growing. And then Emily owned up to making Bruce feel comfortable enough not to play his idol, which increased her threat level in her tribe-mate's eyes. Next morning, the tribe was tasked with sending one member on a journey. The tribe drew rocks, and Emily drew the odd rock. She was given a chance for immunity advantage if she could solve the savvy puzzle from day one. But she chose to protect her vote and not participate. At camp, Julie was revealed to still be holding on to Austin's idol. That expired at the final 5. Whereas the amulet in Austin's possession expired at the 6. And Drew suggested that she'll make a big move with it, which put Julie on alert. And she tried to gather support to vote out Emily. The challenge was reward and immunity this time around. As the players untangled the rope from a starting point and took it over and under beams once they felt they had enough to make it to a sandbag throwing station. And they used 3 sandbags to knock over letter blocks, which they used to spell resourcefulness on both sides, forming an arch. And the first player to successfully spell the word won immunity and a barbecue at reward camp. Drew won the challenge and won immunity and chose to share the reward with Jake and Austin, so they had a boys' night again. And then they determined that Julie was the biggest threat, while everyone else other than Dee agreed on that. Austin didn't want to burn the bridge with Dee, so he told her that Julie was the target. Dee then told Julie, who was mad and targeted Austin out of revenge. Dee instructed her to vote for Emily instead, as she didn't want to lose Austin, while she would join the others in voting Julie not to tip off her allies that she told her about the plan. And then at Tribal, Julie played the idol to negate all 6 of her trimates' votes. Austin kept his idol, and Julie's vote on Emily sent Emily to the jury. So this is the second time this season where a unanimous vote, a near unanimous vote, doesn't count because of an idol. We saw it with Caleb. Now we see it here with Julie. So Julie's safe. Emily's out. And now we're down to 6. So it's Julie. It's Dee. It's Drew. It's Austin. It's Jake. And it's Katurah. That's your final 6. All right, so the best move of the episode was Julie playing her idol, else she would have been out. So good job on Julie for playing the idol. Worst move of the episode was probably was it Julie voting for Emily? You could make a case it was Julie voting out Emily because then Austin leaves the game with an idol in his pocket. So I'm going to go with that for the worst move of the episode. Her writing Julie's name down instead of Austin. Although, I think she put down Emily's name because Dee made her do it. And Dee, obviously, is probably dating Austin right now as we speak. So, she wanted to keep her man in the game. And she was too loyal. So, favorite moment of the episode? That's a good one. I'm gonna say my favorite moment of the episode was Dee and Austin, with the sparks flying all over them. Love to see those moments on Survivor. We saw it last season with Fran and Matt, and now we're seeing it here with Dee and Austin. Those are always fun moments on the show. Worst moment of the show, I really can't think of a worst moment of the show. And worst move of the episode, you could make a case, was Emily not doing the Savvy puzzle, because that could have saved her ass in the show. And then they would have had to re-vote. So I'm going to actually change my worst move of the episode to that. Emily not playing Sweater Savvy, because that, you could argue, cost her the game. Because that would have been a good risk if she got it. But a worst moment, I really can't think of one that bothered me or whatever. Alright, my winner pick, I'm going to change it. I'm going to say Katurah. I think she has respect from her tribe mates. She's very, low-key, which is really good for her. And I think that nobody's taking her seriously as a threat. And then maybe she emerges as a threat and she wins. And nobody's talking about her. So I'm going to say Katurah. Next out, it's going to be Julie. I'm sorry. She had to play her idol to save herself. The only way Julie won't be out is if she wins immunity. If she wins immunity, then Jake's out. So, I'm going to say Julie's out. And not only do I think Katurah wins, I think she wins immunity in this episode. And then Mama J is a 5-1 vote. Maybe a 4-2 vote with D maybe voting for Jake or for somebody else. And I'm going to say Julie's out. Unfortunately. All right, best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. I know it was a long show today, but we had a lot to talk about and news and notes I had to start with because of the Ohtani news. I have a couple of games in mind for best bet, but one jumped out at me. It's in the NHL, and it's a total. 6.5 is the total for the Flames Avalanche game, and I think that is going over. So I'm gonna lay a small unit on it. I'm gonna lay a 1/10 of a unit on it because I'm also going to bet the Giants against the Packers. It's like another football bet for you guys because I'm low-key regret not taking that in Fab 5 instead of the Chiefs or the over in the Detroit-Chicago game. So, for best bet, I'm going to go over 6.5 and Flames Avs. But I'm not going to count the Giants bet in Fab 5. I'm just betting on the Giants because I think they are going to cover the spread against Green Bay. So there you have it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything and look ahead to everything tomorrow. We have a portfolio bet to give away as well. So that should also be fun. Have a great day, everybody.